here is what we are getting into today. We're bringing the Leica Q2 and the Leica Q3 to New York City for 72 hours. I want to show you the photos from each camera. I want to talk to you about how the experience is using them, and ultimately I want to tell you which Q may be right for you. It's that simple, and it's going to be that fun. My name's Andrew. Welcome to the Lens Rentals channel. No trip to New York is complete without the boys, and I'm not talking about the Leica cameras. Keith and I had to catch a crazy early flight, which meant we had to do an even earlier morning pickup. 3 a.m. wake-ups are not it. TSA pre-check is privilege. I waited forever. How does it feel?
You made it.
So while we fought sleep at the terminal, I made sure to look over the specs of each one of these cameras. So both the Q2 and the Q3 have the same glass on them. It's the Leica 28mm f1.7 fixed lens. Some people may not like fixed lenses. I personally really enjoy them. I use the Fuji X100V. And the benefit with this is that the Leicas, unlike the Fuji, are actually full frame. We've got a 47.3 megapixel sensor in the Q2 and a 60 megapixel full frame sensor in the Q3. Both can record video, but where things get a little bit wild is that the upgrade from the Q2 to the Q3 on the video side of things is substantial. I'm not going to dive into all of the specific settings. They're going to be on the screen here, and we're going to dive into that in just a little bit. And that sums up like the versus section of this video. The cameras body-wise are very similar. The accessories are very similar. We're talking base plate grips, thumb grips. They take the same batteries, but I will say the Q3 has this sick wireless charging pad. That's just cool. That's just really, really cool. All right, let's get into the photos. All right, so I'm in the leader right now. I've got the Q2 on me. Let's go take some photos.
A lot of times when you go to the city, you think about taking photos of the architecture, but I love street photography and I love taking photos of people just going about their everyday lives. There's a lot of beauty in it, and I think these cameras were perfect for that experience. Starting with the Q2, I really enjoyed using this camera. And when a little bit of rain came, I wasn't worried because it is weatherproof. The lens is crazy sharp and crazy fast. The EVF is really nice and clear, which is a good thing because I ended up using it a lot more than I probably would if the camera had an LCD flip out screen. I think it's a solid camera and I was happy with the results that I got.
This thing is pretty sick. I'm actually just posted up taking photos of people walk by, and that's been an absolute blast. To use both cameras all day, and I have to say, I don't know if there's a difference.
Moving on to the Q3, I just feel like this is the Q2 on steroids. It was a great experience, albeit very similar to the Q2. The images are sharper than the Q2, which I didn't think I would notice, but that higher megapixel sensor really does put out some crazy sharp images. The LCD flip out screen, I'm a huge fan. This answered my tensions with the Q2. I'm not going to say it again. I just think every camera should have this in 2023. And last but not least, the EVF is solid. The feel of the camera is solid. But to be very honest with you, the experience between the Q2 and the Q3 was very similar.
So now that I'm back home, I've had some time away from the cameras. My trip is over. I've been able to process the Q2 and the Q3 side by side. What are the pros, what are the cons, and which Q is actually going to be right for you? But let me start by saying this. As I was walking around, I thought to myself, these cameras really aren't all that different in the hand. Like if you were to take a camera and put it over my head, but you didn't tell me what I was using, and you asked me, was it the Q2 or the Q3, and you switched them out throughout the day, I don't think I would be able to tell the difference. They felt identical, and the experience using them, sure, the backs are a little different, but it was almost the same as well. So if they are the same in the hand, we have to go like under the surface. Looking at the sensor, the Q3 has a higher megapixel count, and a lot of times photographers want to use that higher megapixel count for when they're cropping in. I noticed the Q2 maintained really good quality. Now, unless I'm punching way in, that's really not going to be that big of a deal. I did like that both cameras gave you frame guides, so you could actually see, what the crop would look like or what your frame would look like at 28 millimeters, 35 millimeters, 50 millimeters, and 75 millimeters. That is a really nice touch that both cameras had. And lastly, I know I touched on video earlier, but I will say this. The main selling point for the Q3 in regards to video, outside of the codecs, which are really impressive, is the fact that you have image stabilization in your camera. Having a steady hand is great, but having that extra security of image stabilization in a camera hands down, it's awesome. It also does help with photos. As you're walking around, you need a little extra stabilization to get that shot, to not have that extra jiggle or blur that you didn't want in your image. It's really nice to have. But let me be completely honest with you. As a user myself, I didn't want to use the Q2 or the Q3 for video. And if I had the cameras regularly, I probably wouldn't do that either. If I needed to capture any video throughout the entire trip, I simply used my phone. And I actually really like this, to not have to worry about changing settings on either camera and letting them just be photo cameras was really nice, and the phone does a great job. So if you're on the fence between the Q2 and the Q3, let me paint a picture for you. If you need a higher megapixel sensored camera and better video options, clearly the Q3 is the winner. But if you're just focusing on photos, honestly, both cameras are going to be great options for you. The raw files are phenomenal, and yes, the Q3 does have a new processor to help speed up your process and shoot at higher frame rates with different bit depths, but honestly, they both look really good. And I think that has everything to do with the glass that is on the camera. That 1.7 is just, it's gnarly, it's awesome. So you can take my word for it, or you can test it out yourself. Get your hands on this camera by renting it first. Don't spend all of the money that you have, that you've worked towards, on a camera that you don't know if you're gonna like. Go to lensrentals.com, rent the gear, test it out, and come to your own conclusion, and let me know what you think. I can't wait to see what you create, and I'm just waiting for my next trip opportunity. So I'm gonna end this video here. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I can't wait to see you in the next one. All right, peace.
Boys, how we feeling? Feeling good?
Splendid.
Nothing's far away.
Oh, yeah, so nice. We made it, bro.
Oh, that's